Oh, hello there. Yes, well, another week beckons. Very Augusty, isn't it? Sort of quiet, bit stormy. Well, yeah, holidays. Yeah, all the politics shows are off, aren't they? Which obviously leaves us with a gap in the market. And I'm sure you noticed over the weekend there was a bit of a moment for Paul Golding's Britain First. I've often said that he must feel really, really hacked off to have put all of that hard work in. You know, first of all in the Nazi NF and then the neo-Nazi BNP and finally with the crypto-fascist Nazi, well, hard to say, but certainly racist, Britain First. And yeah, for once, they were able to film the end of the march in Manchester. And yeah, big scenes, big people out there, which I guess is good for him. As ever, they were sort of complaining about the potential for demographic collapse. Sounds awful, actually. Yeah, sounds like something that might happen in Boots in the skincare section. Anyway, leaving that aside, I was thinking that we'd have a look today at, the obvious media backlash that there's bound to be because, there's large numbers of fascists marching. You might not sort of think that it's right to call Britain First fascists, but it's hard not to, really, isn't it? Yes. I mean, they're certainly racist. And we did see a fair smattering of that from, oddly, people that, certainly aren't fascists and certainly aren't racist. I mean, here's Loza Fox, for example, who had to leave London because it was way too dangerous. I mean, he would have wanted to become mayor, and presumably it wouldn't have been too particularly dangerous for him then for other reasons. But anyway, he loses his deposit and had to move to the countryside because it was just so dangerous, what with all those, drunk drivers and everything that there were in London. Anyway, yeah, he posted this up. The police are starting to realise they're outnumbered by the peasants. Good. You say you want your country back. Yes, we do. Yes, some amazing scenes there that Basil the Great had posted up indeed. But of course, I mean, Loza isn't a racist, and if you call him a racist, he will take you to court. Okay, he'll lose, but that's only because he didn't go to a jury trial. I mean, if he'd gone to a jury trial, then he still would have lost, wouldn't he? Because it's not really a good idea to call gay men paedophiles. They get a bit upset about it. I mean, I know God says it's okay because I'm sure Loza ran that past Calvin because Calvin, knows what God thinks, and certainly God doesn't like gay people unless they're Dan Wootton, oddly enough. It's all a bit complicated. I've never really understood religion on that basis. But yeah, there's Loza Fox, who certainly isn't a fascist and certainly isn't a racist, but for some reason is, cheering on the far right. Still, I imagine that other people that, work for reputable news organisations wouldn't do such a thing. But, oh no, here's Leo Kearse. Quelle surprise. Britain First were considered a fringe far-right group. No, they still are, okay? Now they can rally these numbers. The establishment had better start doing what the British people want, or things will go sideways very quickly after the next inevitable enrichment event. Yeah, it's a bit like demographic collapse. It's one of those phrases, isn't it? Well, I think we do know what Leo means by that, because Leo is a past master at putting things up on social media, isn't he? And then, having to take a bit of a vacation, which we're not allowed to talk about. Anyway, of course, Leo is still with GB News. They had to let Loza go after the, misunderstandings about him being not only a racist, but, which he isn't, obviously, but the whole misogynist thing, which is still an ongoing thing in court, what with the upskirting thing. Yes, it's dreadful. The establishment is really out to get him. It must be awful being him. Yes, maybe he could get another tattoo just before all that acting work comes in. I hear there's a new Batman movie on the offing. Yeah. Anyway, that's Leo for you, but I guess that's just a fringe one. I mean, you wouldn't get somebody from Talk TV. Yes, you would, of course, because there's Alex Phillips. Yeah, who certainly isn't a fascist supporter or a racist. She would never do such a thing, but here she is. Many Brits have had enough. Well, I know I have. Alex, no violence, no chaos, just strength in numbers. What will Starmer do? Yes, clock is ticking, sunshine. Yeah, it's the summer. Oh no, she doesn't mean that. You'd better come up with answers. You better address the nation, because this is not being swept under the carpet anytime soon. Yes, we can't sweep racism under the carpet, and there she is reposting Ian Miles Chung, who is a fecal matter poster who loves to put up right-wing things because of all the clicks that it gets. But I guess Alex will be, probably I imagine that her bosses at Talk TV will have stern words with her about, appearing to support actual fascists and actual racists. I'm sure she'll get the... I doubt if she'll be back on Monday morning, will she? No. Anyway, were there any others? Yes, of course there were. There were quite a few. We've got Douglas Carswell, who was ringing it in as an economic migrant from the States. Somewhere in Whitehall on Monday, panic will start to set in. Watery-eyed officials, not really quite sure about that, will realise they can't contain this. Yeah, watery-eyed officials. I don't know, maybe it's a sort of hay fever thing. Yes, indeed. Dougie Carswell liking that. And, yes, we can imagine, of course, that, come Monday, or indeed right now, there must be loads of discussion programmes where, people are saying that it's really dreadful that, very far right-wing groups who have a long history of, probably quite nasty violence. I'm not saying that Paul Golding is a nasty, violent man. It's just if you look at his Wikipedia page, there do seem to be a lot of sort of nasty violence things in it, including sexual violence, which I don't know. Maybe we could get some women dressed in pink to go and picket him or something. I don't really know anymore. I get very, very confused with the whole thing as to who good and bad people are, because in my day we used to think that the racists and the Nazis were the bad people, but it seems not. Anyway, I was drawn to this on GB News, discussing a shocking report which said that the number of over 60s being referred to the Prevent programme for far-right views is going up a lot. And I was thinking, gosh, really? I wonder why that is. Yes, anyway, as they say here, one man's extremism is another man's mainstream views. Where is the bar set? Well, according to GB News, as far as I can make out, and Talk TV and the Daily Telegraph and loads of the other papers that are quite happy to sort of trumpet this stuff, the bar is set at exactly where Britain first are. Because, let's face it, if you are basically posting stuff up which suggests that a neo-Nazi, racist, ethno-nationalist party with an agenda for very, very nasty, what amounts to ethnic cleansing in the UK, then it's probably a bit dodgy. But it's just a panel discussion on GB News because, of course, the problem is that all of these people actually support these views. But the thing they can't support is the notion that we might call them out on it. I'm sorry, but if you support things like this, by neo-Nazi organisations, then I would have to question exactly where your politics are. And I would suggest that these organisations might want to actually... have a think about where exactly their politics are. But for all of these individuals, each of these individuals that I've highlighted, they don't have to care about where any of this ends up, because their news organisations, which are basically just propaganda pieces for their billionaire or multi-millionaire owners. After all, Paul Marshall loses a great deal of money with GB News, yeah? Even whoever the new owner of the Telegraph is, will lose a great deal of money on the paper. The Rupert Murdoch, non-dom billionaire, oh man... don't know, yes, creature in reptilian form potentially, or something that he is, loses tons and tons of money with Talk TV. The whole point of these organisations is that they will present you with an argument, and of course the argument here is, well, we don't really like the Labour government, even though it's the most right-wing Labour government that we've had in history, because we can't get from them the exact things that we want, which is massive tax cuts for the rich. That's the key thing. It's always the key thing. I know I probably bore you lot saying it, but it's worthwhile just saying it over and over again. That's what they want. That's what Paul Marshall wants. He wants to push his own particular business interests, which of course will magically make all of us better off, as we well know. I mean, Kemi Badenoch was coming out with some very interesting economics at the weekend. Apparently all we need is just another round of austerity and everything will be fine. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know where we're going to go with this exactly. These people are also sort of cheering on women sitting in the street blocking the traffic, which is a complete turnaround, because I seem to recall that whenever other people were doing that, it was the worst thing in the world. Anyway, we will see where this ends up. Various people will end up being hurt quite a great deal. But history tells us that, if you don't confront fascists wherever they are, they will simply infest everywhere. And with cheerleaders, like this particular crew, I don't really know where we go. But no matter what, they will suffer no consequences for this whatsoever. None whatsoever. And I think we should just call them out. And unfortunately, the British media is in no fit state to do that anytime soon. So, yeah, we can just look forward to a nice, long summer, autumn, winter, and next few years of enormously large numbers of people being radicalised online, because after all, if someone as reasonable as Loza Fox says so, then it must be okay. I wonder where the bar is set. Better ask Loza where that bar might be. He sometimes has problems with bars, doesn't he? Anyway, do have a glorious, glorious beginning to the week, if you can do. Remember, it'll all end in tears for these people, because that is the way the world works, ultimately. And I don't know, on a more positive note, I just think that these people are, in their own way, just desperately unhappy. I don't get the sense that Loza Fox in any way, shape or form is a very happy man, and I don't get the sense that Alex Phillips or Leo Kearse or loads of the others, they all seem to be people who have missed out on what they really wanted to be. Still, never mind. As long as they inflict themselves on us, that's the important thing. Do have a glorious day, if you can.